like he said, those coveralls would come in, and they'd be covered with that stuff. You know. And I work in both because the safety equipment and Linda back here, we both work in cleaning the safety equipment, and then we have to clean it, and the respirators we wash and clean those too. And we'd have to use a Geiger counter to make sure that they were safe. And it's like he said, you walk by that Geiger counter, that thing would pig out because they would be hot, you know. And I worked in most parts of the plant. They were talking about those drums, those Russian drums. You could tell the difference. You remember how heavy those Russian drums? They were much heavier than the regular drums that we got in.
Back up if they got flipped over, you'd have to have 4 or 5 guys.
That's right, because they were much different. So, yeah, we had Russian drums, and we knew because they were different. Yeah. They were different when they came in. But another thing, I'm not sure that the respirators that we used were the proper ones for that type of stuff. I mean, that was not what they were recommended for. They were recommended for the feed material building, but who knows about that kind of thing, you know. And I worked in another place called Wet Process, and we dumped drums too. And we had rumors of being plutonium or whatever in some of the drums that come through there also. And this was right next to where Stanley worked at the drum dumper, so we were all exposed to all of that.
Run into you.
Yeah.
It's a common drain.
Sometimes the drums that they dump, they take them off.
When I wore it down, went to you.
Yeah, went to us, and we dumped some of those drums that they couldn't dump. We'd take out there, and we had what we call a crusher, who could crush them and then run it through the system. And as he said, the drainage system ran right to our building, and of course it ended up in EPF at the treatment plant. But you know, it was there. It was there. There's no doubt about it.
Did they ever tell you the correlation between uranium and plutonium, the level of hazard that you were dealing with?
No. We were checked every year, you know. We went through and had what is it they called when we checked this every year for whatever?
Whole body count.
The whole body count, yeah. You know about that. We went through all that, and we had a few people that would come up hot, what they call hot, but as a percentage.
Temperature or radioactive?
Radioactive, yeah.
That's what the DOJ is going to want to know. Because we don't want anybody misinterpreting the hot, meaning that it's just we all got hot.
Yeah, no, what they mean by hot is the amount of uranium that you had in your body. Yeah. Which they checked, and I mean, you know, these are their records.
Yeah.
So Ronnie, while you're there, I talk loud enough for a reason. This cameraman's getting this, I'm taping this. What this equates to, without you all realizing it, is what's called a town hall technical basis type meeting, where Ronnie is, what he's telling you has not been captured in the Metropolis Honeywell plant technical basis documents. So when they held the meetings over there in April of 2006, and don't hold me to the date, everybody that's on the list that came in the room, just like we adjourn and go over there back then, they were told by the Resource Center to explain their exposures, and not one individual was allowed to talk about what they were actually doing, which means that every claim, now that we're finding out they concealed your exposure, has got to be reopened. Now do you all understand what that means? We've now caught Honeywell and DOL and DOJ and the FBI probably concealing what Ronnie is saying. Ronnie is a part of the cancer cluster of prostate cancers, and we have prostate cancers paid to the managers of some of these DOL projects and some of the programs, but not to the workers, like Ronnie. And several more.
There were several cases of prostate cancer there. just from, I'd say from like 1990 on, it was just, I'm not gonna say it was a major outbreak, but a lot of cases, of prostate cancer.
Were you, Ronnie, ever, you started, what was your start date?
I started in 75. I worked there from 75 till 2010.
Okay, then what Howard has mentioned, so to show you to connect the dots, what Howard has just mentioned is we've identified a contractor bringing in Russian material. We got their license, right, cameraman? And the license reflects something that you were never told by Mr. Jim Pritchett. We have two individuals, for your information. This is why I'm talking loud and on the recorder. We have two young men that packaged those drones that were in a building. And remember the interview, Howard, where we've got Bobby that took the photographs and the videos of the NRC men holding the papers? At that very point, Jim Pritchett already knew you had plutonium drums in the buildings at the plant. When did you leave, Ron?
2010.
Okay, that was after that, so, but that makes it worse, because that meant you were processing drums from Fernald all the way up to 2014 or 15. And that's bad.
Without our knowledge.
Without your knowledge, which Howard then held up in a meeting for these attorneys, Howard, right? You held up the document that showed that you were accepting plutonium from Russia, right, Howard? Yeah, so he held it up, and NRC had a conniption fit, so I suggested to Howard first, ask them if they're licensed to handle plutonium and neptunium. And Howard did, and they said absolutely not, right, Howard? Yeah. That's a yes. So he got them on video, or actually Mr. Kevin Thompson got him on video, because he was in the audience when NRC lied to Howard. So you see, if you're going to have a dose reconstruction, so they can tell you if you're qualified under the Act, a 30, how many years, Ron? 37-year employee. 36. How does a 36-year employee get exposed to Russian heavy, diluted, highly enriched uranium, which Honeywell already knew about, and so did President Bush, so did Obama. So it's about what is the honest truth. Well, they didn't want to anybody at Honeywell. So we got a cluster of about 70, let's say 70 plus prostate cancers, while over here at Paducah there was a select group that got paid after working 8 years at Paducah for prostate cancer. Ronnie, you get the math? 36 years. Russian uranium. Jonathan Hines has already testified. Ronnie was there.
I was there.
And he was there in the testimony. Jonathan Hines even said, I got paid and I only worked 8 years. Are you seeing the despair? It's called unequal treatment under the law. Now that's what I do. But I don't do it because I'm an attorney. I just do it because I've learned it in the field. And George and I are DOJ, FBI witnesses, and we will give them the evidence whether they want it or not, okay? Howard, you want to say something real quick? Because
Yes.
we add on that.